In the heart of a quaint, fog-bound village nestled deep within the woods, there stood an old, abandoned mansion. Its crumbling facade loomed ominously over overgrown gardens and twisted, gnarled trees that seemed to whisper secrets to anyone daring enough to listen. Legend had it that the mansion belonged to a reclusive family who vanished without a trace one fateful night. Locals whispered about strange lights flickering in its windows long after it was supposedly deserted, and eerie, otherworldly sounds that echoed through the stillness of the night. Despite the warnings and superstitions, a group of adventurous teenagers decided to investigate the mansion one moonless night. Armed with nothing but flashlights and nervous laughter, they crept through the rusted gates and into the echoing halls. Inside, the air was thick with dust and the scent of decay. Shadows danced on the walls as the teens cautiously explored room after room, their footsteps echoing ominously in the silence. Each room held its own chilling secrets: broken furniture, faded portraits with eyes that seemed to follow their every move, and strange symbols etched into the walls. As they ventured deeper into the mansion, they began to feel a palpable sense of unease. Whispers seemed to drift from the walls, and cold drafts chilled the air around them. Suddenly, a door creaked open on its own, revealing a staircase that descended into darkness. Against their better judgment, they followed. At the bottom of the staircase, they found themselves in a hidden chamber unlike any they had seen before. The walls were lined with ancient tomes and curious artifacts, illuminated by a dim, flickering light that cast eerie shadows on the floor. As they cautiously approached, a gust of wind slammed the door shut behind them, trapping them in the suffocating darkness. Panic set in as they realized they were not alone. Whispers grew louder, echoing with chilling laughter that seemed to come from all directions at once. Shadows danced wildly on the walls, and icy fingers brushed against their skin. The air grew thick with a malevolent presence, suffocating their courage and turning their excitement into paralyzing fear. Just as suddenly as it began, the whispers ceased, and the oppressive atmosphere lifted. The door swung open with a deafening creak, revealing the moonlit night outside. Without looking back, the teens fled the mansion, their hearts pounding with terror. To this day, no one dares to enter the mansion. Locals speak of the inexplicable events that occurred that night, warning outsiders to steer clear of the haunted mansion lost in the woods, a place where the veil between the living and the dead is said to be dangerously thin. Years passed, but the mystery of the haunted mansion persisted like an unshakable shadow over the village. Despite warnings and tales passed down through generations, some dared to challenge the darkness that engulfed the decrepit estate. One stormy autumn evening, a renowned paranormal investigator named Professor Evelyn Gray arrived in the village. Armed with an array of scientific instruments and a steadfast belief in rationality, she scoffed at the superstitions that plagued the locals. Determined to uncover the truth behind the legends, Professor Gray set her sights on the abandoned mansion. Ignoring the warnings of the villagers, she ventured into the woods, guided only by the flickering light of her lantern. The journey was treacherous, the branches of ancient trees reaching out like skeletal fingers, but she pressed on with unwavering determination. Finally, through the mist and swirling leaves, the mansion loomed before her, its dark silhouette outlined against the stormy sky. Professor Gray's heart quickened with anticipation as she crossed the threshold, her footsteps echoing in the cavernous halls. Inside, the mansion seemed frozen in time, a silent witness to untold secrets. Undeterred by the eerie atmosphere, Professor Gray meticulously examined each room, searching for clues that could explain the inexplicable events whispered about in hushed tones. Hours turned into days as she delved deeper into the mansion's mysteries. She discovered hidden passageways concealed behind tapestries, rooms adorned with cryptic symbols, and a basement filled with arcane artifacts that defied rational explanation. Each discovery fueled her determination to uncover the truth, regardless of the dangers that lurked in the shadows. But as night fell, the mansion seemed to awaken with a malevolent energy. Strange phenomena plagued Professor Gray, objects moved of their own accord, disembodied voices whispered incomprehensible words, and chilling drafts chilled the air despite the storm raging outside. Undeterred, Professor Gray persisted, driven by a thirst for knowledge that eclipsed her fear. In the heart of the mansion, she stumbled upon a hidden chamber unlike any other, a sanctuary of ancient texts and forbidden knowledge. The walls were adorned with intricate sigils that shimmered with an otherworldly glow, illuminating the darkness with an ethereal light. As she meticulously examined the artifacts, a presence seemed to manifest itself in the chamber. A cold wind swept through the room, extinguishing her lantern and plunging her into darkness. Yet, amidst the shadows, a voice echoed, not a whisper, but a commanding intonation that spoke of forgotten truths and ancient rites. Summoning all her courage, Professor Gray confronted the apparition, demanding answers that had eluded generations. The spirit spoke of a curse that bound it to the mansion, a curse born of betrayal and unfinished business. It pleaded for release, its voice a haunting melody that resonated through the professor's very soul. With a solemn vow, Professor Gray promised to unravel the curse that shackled the spirit to the mortal realm. Armed with newfound determination and a newfound respect for the supernatural, she embarked on a quest to uncover the mansion's darkest secrets, not for fame or recognition, but to bring peace to the restless souls trapped within its walls. And so, the tale of the haunted mansion lost in the woods took a new turn, as Professor Evelyn Gray's quest for truth led her deeper into the shadows than she had ever dared to venture before. Professor Evelyn Gray's determination to unravel the mysteries of the haunted mansion intensified with each passing day. Armed with her scientific expertise and a burgeoning understanding of the supernatural, she delved deeper into the mansion's dark secrets. As she pored over ancient texts and studied the cryptic symbols etched into the mansion's walls, Professor Gray pieced together fragments of a tragic tale. Long ago, the mansion belonged to a powerful noble family who delved into forbidden rituals in their pursuit of immortality. Their experiments led to a catastrophic rift between the worlds, unleashing malevolent forces that claimed their lives and bound their spirits to the mansion. Driven by compassion for the restless souls trapped within its walls, Professor Gray sought allies among the villagers who still harbored fear and reverence for the mansion. With their help, she uncovered forgotten legends and whispered prophecies that foretold of a chosen one who would break the curse and restore balance to the spirits. Armed with this newfound knowledge, Professor Gray embarked on a series of rituals and ceremonies designed to weaken the spectral bonds that held the mansion in thrall. Each night, under the pale light of the moon, she performed ancient rites and incantations, drawing upon her intellect and inner strength to challenge the darkness that gripped the mansion. But as her efforts intensified, so too did the malevolent forces that sought to thwart her progress. Shadows flickered in the corners of her vision, whispers echoed through the empty halls, and spectral apparitions appeared with chilling frequency. Yet, Professor Gray remained undeterred, her resolve steeling against the onslaught of supernatural opposition. One fateful night, during the height of a thunderstorm that shook the very foundations of the mansion, Professor Gray confronted the malevolent entity that had plagued her since the beginning of her quest. In a climactic showdown of wills and power, she battled against the darkness that sought to consume her. With a final incantation and a surge of pure determination, Professor Gray shattered the curse that bound the spirits to the mansion. A blinding light engulfed the chamber, dispelling the shadows and banishing the malevolent presence that had haunted the mansion for centuries. As the storm subsided and the first rays of dawn pierced through the dark clouds, Professor Gray emerged from the mansion, victorious yet profoundly changed. The spirits of the noble family, freed from their torment, ascended peacefully into the afterlife, their grateful whispers echoing in her ears. Word of Professor Evelyn Gray's triumph spread throughout the village like wildfire, dispelling the lingering fear and superstition that had cloaked the haunted mansion for generations. In its place grew a newfound respect for the mysteries of the supernatural and the courage of those who dared to challenge them. From that day forward, the haunted mansion lost in the woods became a symbol of resilience and redemption, a testament to the power of knowledge and compassion in the face of darkness. And as for Professor Evelyn Gray, her name would forever be synonymous with bravery and the unyielding pursuit of truth, leaving an indelible mark on the annals of history. With the curse lifted and the spirits finally at peace, Tranquility settled over the once ominous mansion and its surrounding woods. Professor Evelyn Gray, hailed as a hero in the village, continued to visit the mansion periodically, ensuring that the supernatural energies remained balanced and the newfound peace endured. Over time, the mansion became a focal point of scholarly interest and curiosity. Historians, archaeologists, and paranormal enthusiasts from around the world journeyed to the remote village to study its mysteries firsthand. The local economy flourished as tourists came to explore the now-renowned haunted mansion, guided by tales of Professor Gray's daring exploits and the legends she had unraveled. In gratitude for her pivotal role in freeing their ancestral home from darkness, the villagers honored Professor Gray with a ceremony, presenting her with a symbolic key to the mansion and a handmade tapestry depicting the mansion's transformation from a place of fear to one of hope. Despite her newfound fame, Professor Gray remained humble and focused on her academic pursuits. She continued to teach at the university, inspiring a new generation of students to explore the intersection of science and the supernatural with an open mind and rigorous methodology. As years passed, the haunted mansion gradually became a beacon of reconciliation between the living and the departed. Stories of ghostly encounters faded into distant memory, replaced by tales of healing and redemption. Visitors reported feeling a sense of peace and serenity within the mansion's walls, as if the spirits of the past had found solace in their final rest. Professor Evelyn Gray's legacy extended far beyond the boundaries of the village. Her scholarly articles and books detailing her experiences at the mansion became essential reading for those studying paranormal phenomena. She received numerous awards and accolades for her groundbreaking research, solidifying her reputation as a pioneer in her field. Yet, amidst the accolades and recognition, Professor Gray never forgot the lessons she had learned during her time at the mansion. She remained grateful to the villagers whose steadfast support had enabled her to confront the darkness that had plagued their community for so long. Her bond with the village grew stronger over the years, and she often returned to visit, sharing her insights and wisdom with those who sought her guidance. The haunted mansion lost in the woods became a symbol of transformation and resilience, a testament to the enduring power of courage, compassion, and the relentless pursuit of truth. And as Professor Evelyn Gray continued her journey, she carried with her the profound knowledge that sometimes the greatest mysteries are not found in the shadows, but in the light that shines through them. As the years passed, the village and the once haunted mansion continued to thrive under the watchful eye of Professor Evelyn Gray. Her visits became a regular occurrence, not only to ensure the spiritual balance of the mansion but also to foster a deeper connection with the community that had embraced her as their savior. During one of her visits, Professor Gray noticed a subtle change in the mansion's atmosphere. The air no longer carried the lingering chill of spectral presence, and the shadows seemed less foreboding. It was as if the mansion itself had found a measure of peace, mirroring the tranquility that had settled over the village. Inspired by the mansion's transformation, Professor Gray embarked on a new research project. She delved into the history of the noble family who had once owned the mansion, uncovering forgotten documents and artifacts that shed light on their lives and ambitions. Through meticulous study and collaboration with historians, she pieced together a detailed narrative of the family's rise to prominence and their tragic downfall. The more Professor Gray learned, the more she realized that the mansion's haunting was not merely a tale of restless spirits and supernatural phenomena. It was a story of human ambition, hubris, and the consequences of tampering with forces beyond comprehension. Her findings attracted attention from academic circles worldwide, leading to invitations to speak at prestigious conferences and collaborate on groundbreaking studies. Professor Gray's reputation as a scholar of both history and the paranormal grew exponentially, solidifying her legacy as a trailblazer in the field. Despite her academic success, Professor Gray remained grounded in her commitment to the village and the mansion that had captured her heart. She established a research foundation dedicated to the preservation and study of paranormal phenomena, funding scholarships for aspiring researchers and supporting ongoing efforts to understand the mysteries of the supernatural. Over the years, the village evolved into a hub for scholars and enthusiasts alike, drawn by the mansion's rich history and the legacy of Professor Evelyn Gray. The local economy flourished as tourism boomed, with visitors from all corners of the globe arriving to explore the mansion's labyrinthine corridors and absorb its haunting beauty. Through it all, Professor Gray continued to visit the mansion, her bond with its spirits and the villagers growing stronger with each passing year. She often reflected on her journey from skeptic to scholar, grateful for the opportunity to unravel the mansion's mysteries and bring closure to its troubled past. As she stood on the mansion's grand terrace one evening, overlooking the tranquil village bathed in the glow of twilight, Professor Evelyn Gray felt a profound sense of fulfillment. The haunted mansion lost in the woods had become not just a place of fear and legend, but a beacon of knowledge, reconciliation, and hope for all who dared to seek its secrets. And so, the story of Professor Evelyn Gray and the haunted mansion lost in the woods continued to inspire generations, reminding them that sometimes, the greatest discoveries lie not in the shadows of the unknown, but in the light of understanding and compassion. As Professor Evelyn Gray continued her visits to the mansion over the years, she noticed a gradual change in the atmosphere around the village. The once distant and wary villagers now greeted her with warmth and gratitude, their trust in her unwavering after witnessing the transformation of the mansion from a place of fear to a symbol of resilience and knowledge. With each return visit, Professor Gray deepened her research, uncovering new layers of the mansion's history and the intricate web of relationships that had shaped its destiny. She collaborated with experts in various fields, from archaeology to parapsychology, pooling their resources and knowledge to unravel the remaining mysteries that clung to the mansion's shadowed corridors. One chilly autumn evening, as she sifted through a stack of ancient manuscripts in the mansion's library, Professor Gray stumbled upon a faded diary hidden beneath a loose floorboard. The diary belonged to one of the mansion's former inhabitants, a young woman named Amelia, whose delicate handwriting chronicled a forbidden love affair that had ended in tragedy. Intrigued, Professor Gray immersed herself in Amelia's story, piecing together the events that had unfolded centuries ago. Through Amelia's eyes, she saw glimpses of life in the mansion during its heyday: lavish balls held in the grand ballroom, whispered conversations in dimly lit parlors, and clandestine meetings in secret chambers hidden from prying eyes. But woven within the tale of romance and intrigue was a darker thread, a shadowy figure that lurked in the background, manipulating events from the shadows. Professor Gray sensed a connection between this malevolent presence and the supernatural disturbances that had plagued the mansion for generations. Driven by curiosity and a thirst for answers, Professor Gray delved deeper into the diary's cryptic passages. She uncovered clues that hinted at a ritual gone awry, unleashing forces beyond mortal comprehension and sealing the mansion's fate as a beacon of paranormal activity. As she continued her investigation, strange occurrences began to escalate once more within the mansion's walls. Objects moved of their own accord, disembodied voices echoed through empty corridors, and the air grew heavy with a palpable sense of unease. It was as if the spirits of the past were urging her to uncover the truth that had eluded them for so long. With each revelation, Professor Gray's determination only strengthened. She consulted with experts in occult lore and ancient rituals, seeking their expertise in deciphering the cryptic symbols and sigils that adorned the mansion's hidden chambers. Together, they pieced together a ritual of cleansing and redemption, a last-ditch effort to banish the malevolent presence that lingered like a dark cloud over the mansion. One moonlit night, surrounded by a circle of trusted allies and armed with ancient artifacts and incantations, Professor Evelyn Gray stood in the heart of the mansion's secret chamber. The air crackled with anticipation as she began the ritual, her voice steady and unwavering despite the weight of centuries-old darkness pressing in around them. As the final words of the incantation echoed through the chamber, a blinding light erupted from the center of the circle, illuminating the room with a brilliance that seemed to cleanse the very essence of the mansion. Shadows writhed and dissipated, and a sense of peace descended like a gentle mist over the assembled group. In that moment, Professor Gray felt a profound sense of closure. The malevolent presence that had haunted the mansion for centuries was finally exorcised, its grip on the living world broken. The spirits of those who had suffered within its walls ascended peacefully, their whispers of gratitude echoing through the stillness. As dawn broke over the horizon, casting a golden glow over the now peaceful village and its once haunted mansion. Professor Evelyn Gray stood on the terrace overlooking the tranquil scene. She knew that the mansion's journey was far from over, but she also knew that its legacy had been forever changed. Word of Professor Gray's triumph spread far and wide, cementing her reputation as a scholar and savior. The village, once shrouded in fear and superstition, flourished anew as visitors from around the world flocked to witness the mansion's transformation firsthand. And as for Professor Evelyn Gray, her bond with the village and the mansion remained unbreakable. She continued her research, sharing her discoveries with the world and inspiring others to embrace the mysteries of the supernatural with open hearts and minds. For in the end, the story of Professor Evelyn Gray and the haunted mansion lost in the woods was not just a tale of darkness and redemption, but a testament to the enduring power of courage, compassion, and the unyielding pursuit of truth.